Hey everybody, what's going on? Mr. Tony of the Dead here, and I have a bunch of movie reviews for everybody out there. And the first one I'm going to be looking at here is a double feature sci-fi Blu-ray pack here from Mill Creek Entertainment, and we have Mind Warp and Brainscan on there. And we're talking about Mind Warp right here because I just recently did a review of Brainscan, but to give you a brief description of this, not of the movie, but the transfer looks good on this, so that's all I'm going to say. But if you want to hear about what the movie's about, go and look at my review. And, you know, because I just posted not too long ago, go check out what it's about. But I'm going to talk about Mind Warp. And this one is actually a Fangoria Films movie. It was released by Fangoria Films, directed by Steve Barnett, and actually starring Bruce Campbell, and Angus Scrimm is in it, and Elizabeth Kent is also the other main person in this. And Mind Warp is along the lines of like the Matrix in a way, mixed with maybe the Time Machine. And what it is there's this underground kind of colony of people called the Crawlers, and then there's also the above ground people, and then way off in like past the Deadlands there are these people that are all kind of plugged into their own kind of personal virtual reality kind of place. They don't know any sickness, they don't, you know, get have disease, nothing of that. So basically they're whatever they can think of, you know, can happen to them, and basically they're plugged in their entire lives except to get up to eat and sleep, or eat and go to the bathroom, and they pretty much spend their whole lives in a room. And there's like no more procreating and all that kind of stuff, but that's what they do. And the one girl, she's kind of like tired of it, and she wants something real because she knows it's fake. And the computer, like, you know, the simulation, like in charge of it all, it's like, fine, all right, you know, if you want to be, if that's what you want, you know, so be it, you know. So she, before she gets unplugged from everything in the dream, I say dream, it's not really a dream, in that world she accidentally kills her mother and wakes up, sees her mother's dead. So it's kind of like you die in the dream, you die for real kind of a situation. So she gets kind of like arrested and then exiled. And when she gets exiled, that's where she meets Bruce Campbell, who has survived out there. And then they get kidnapped by these creature kind of like deformed because of the whole planet, the way it's gone to hell, called Crawlers. They take them underground, and they kind of remind me like the Morlocks in like the Time Machine, because they're underground. They don't look like Morlocks, but they're like, you know, deformed. They don't talk, they kind of just grunt. And it's interesting. They're digging for like old technology and what they can use in that. And then there's like a main guy in charge of them called the Seer, and he's like looks over all them. And it's pretty, it's actually a good movie. I never heard of Mind Warp before, and, you know, it's from 1991, and it sounds like, you know, it's gonna be cheesy. Bruce Campbell, I know he did a lot of cheesy stuff in the 90s and that, especially sci-fi stuff, and I gotta say, it was a very interesting story. Especially the ending was good. I enjoyed it. Very good twist that it had throughout the movie a few times. Bruce Campbell did a great job. There was even a reference, I think it was a little nod to Evil Dead, because Evil Dead 2, I guess, because there's a guy got his hand cut off, and he's like looking at him, and he like looks at his hand, and he's like, oh, like that. Like, so I guess that was like kind of like a nod to, like, you know, Evil Dead franchise, that. But so he did a good job in this one. You know, obviously a lot of fun to watch Bruce Campbell. Nice, you know, young Bruce Campbell, and he was like that hero, and then he kind of like changes later on and gets a little like kind of like Ash did in Evil Dead 2, where he's kind of like, in the beginning he's a little normal, and then he starts going a little crazy. That's how he kind of was in this. He had a good character. He was his name was Stoker, I believe it was. But yeah, It was a very good, surprisingly good movie, and it looked good, and the subtitles were fine. Picture quality was really good. Sound was good. Everything was good. Both movies sound good and everything on here. There's no special features. It's just, you know, just the movies. So if that's all you're worried about, you know, that's all you get. But there's nothing else on here, like I said, except subtitles, which, you know, that's even can be tough to get. You know, some places don't even have subtitles, but you know, they have them on here. And then Angus Scrimm, I forgot he was in this. I even read it, and I forgot he was in this. And it was cool to see him in this too, but I didn't really see any like Phantasm shout-outs or anything. But it was a very surprisingly good movie, and I enjoyed it. Very glad I got to see it. Never heard it before, and it seems like something. It is sci-fi-ish, but like I said, it's like the Matrix mixed with like the Time Machine. Like it's like being unplugged and in this world, and oh, it's just it's all over the place. It's pretty cool, and there's like some gruesome stuff in it as well. I enjoyed it. Very cool, and like I said, picture quality was good. But yeah, and it's surprisingly from Fangoria Films. But yeah, it's just standalone, nothing on them. You know, and then the disc is just one Blu-ray. They're both on the same Blu-ray, and it's Region A. They're both, the Blu-ray is Region A. So that is Mind Warp. Next up here from Mill Creek Entertainment, this is part of the I Heart the 90s. This is Jury Duty, starring Paulie Shore, and it's directed by John Fortenberry. And this is a TriStar Pictures and Triumphant Films present, and it's a production in association with Weasel Productions, so Incorporated. And I had to say that in there because, you know, the Weasel. I can't do it. My mouth's dry. But you know, this is back when Paulie Shore was pretty big in the 90s. You know, coming out with movies, Encino Man, In the Army Now, Jury Duty. You know, other things. But you know, this one is about. He's like this guy, he can't find a job, and he can't keep a job, and he ends up getting jury duty, and he's going to get paid like $5 a day, and he ends up getting on this jury of like one of the like biggest crimes of, you know, of the century at the time, and it's like this drive-through killer, and they're staying in this like hotel, but here they're staying in this historical wing of the hotel, so it's like all run down and everything. So he kind of like makes a deal with the front end manager, and that he'll help promote them on the TV if he can, like, you know, bump them up to like one of the like presidential suites and that. So that's what he does. But everybody knows that this guy, the drive-through killer, is guilty, so they just like right away they're like, we're gonna, you know, call him guilty. But he doesn't want to leave this hotel, so he's trying to devise a plan on how he could stay there as long as possible and try to keep them there without, you know, pissing everybody off and trying to make them kill him. So that's what this is about. And I haven't seen this movie in a long time, and this came out in 1995, hour and 28 minutes, and this is just a standalone edition. Again, just like Mind Warp and that, it just has the movie and subtitles on it. I'm okay with that, you know, doesn't bother me, but it, you know, pretty cool. It has the VHS tape, and this is, like I said, I Heart the 90s, so they're coming out with 90s editions of these kind of things, you know, like MVD has their Rewind collection, Mill Creek has their 90s stuff, and they have other things as well. But I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was funny. There was things that, like, while I was watching it, it came back to me. I was like, oh, I remember that part. That was funny. That was good. You know, Tia Carrere's in this. Shelley Winters, Abe Vigoda's in this as the judge. Tia Carrere looked, you know, that was back when she's, I don't know what she looks like now, to be honest, but she looked amazing back then. But good cast of characters on the jury. It was funny. Stanley Tucci's in it. It was a funny story, I think, or a funny movie, I should say. But I think the one who stole the show was his dog Peanut, who's like addicted to Jeopardy. Such a cute little dog. I'd love to have that dog as my own. And it was just if you ever seen like Pauly Shore movies from back then, it's a little ridiculous, especially the shit he says. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, and I still laughed at it nowadays. It's stupid comedy, you know. It's fun. I enjoyed it. It's kind of just something to put in if you just need a laugh, or you know, something in background or whatever. It's not my favorite Pauly Shore movie. Also, Son-in-Law. That's one I was thinking I couldn't remember. But Son-in-Law is one of the ones up there. And of course, I don't really count Encino Man as a Pauly Shore movie. He's in it, but I count like ones that like starring him. I know he's like a star in it, but he's not really the star. But Son-in-Law is probably, I think that's probably my favorite one of him. But Jury Duty was fun too. You know, I was always a fan of him back there and back in the day in Weaselmania. You know, everybody was, you know, a big fan of him. And then when he cut his hair, it was like a big shock that he did it. It was just crazy. But yeah, this was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. It was nice to see it after so many years. And it's cool that they brought it out in this cool little edition. So now I'll show you, you know, this here. You got this cool slip cover here, and on the inside you have that artwork, which that artwork there is pretty much the same artwork on the back of the slipcover. And it's pretty cool though on the slipcover how you have the old stickers, you know, and on the sides you have that like on the disc, on the VHS tape, and you know, got that on the side and that. But on the inside here you just have the disc here like that. It's just one Blu-ray, and it is region A. And you know, like I will say the picture quality was good, sounded good, and the captions were fine. I mean, it's a standalone edition, just movie and subtitles, and it was good. And like I said, if you're in the mood for a laugh, you know, and you like Pauly Shore, or maybe you haven't watched a Pauly Shore movie in a long time, put this one in and see if it still holds up. To me, I thought it did. You know, I don't remember how funny it was to me back in the day, but I probably think it was just as good now for me as it was back in the day. So I'm glad I got to see it again, and I think this is a pretty cool edition. I like the white tape as well. So yeah, that's Jury Duty. And last I have from Mill Creek Entertainment here is Double Team, and this is with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dennis Rodman. And in this, Jean-Claude Van Damme plays a counter-terrorist, and he's after Mickey Rourke's character. Can't think of his name right now, but he's after him. And what happens is he ends up getting killed in the line of fire. Jean-Claude Van Damme does, and at least they think he does. And he wakes up as part of this like total underground organization called the Colony, where they're kind of like the main guys, where nobody knows about them, and they're kind of like the ones who analyze, like something happens, like a plane blew up, and they analyze what happened. They all have ideas, like they're all some of them are ex-terrorists, some of them are counter-terrorists, some of them were on the opposite ends, sides of the team. But they're all together in this colony, and they can't leave because the rest of the world thinks they're dead. And Jean-Claude Van Damme leaves behind this wife, and she was pregnant with his kid. And Mickey Rourke kind of like, he's like this main huge bad guy, and he kind of knows about the colony, and they don't know how much about the colony he knows. And he still believes that Jean-Claude Van Damme is alive, so he's kind of sending these messages in these like bombings he's doing. And so of course he has to get off the island to go and try and save the day. And you know, oh, while that sounds all kind of neat and all, there's a reason I think that I don't really remember this movie. All I remembered was that Jean-Claude Van Damme and Rodman were in it, and Rodman didn't bother me too much, I gotta admit. It's not like he was that bad in this movie. It's just some of the, the one-liners in this that he did were pretty like dumb. Like he threw a guy and he go, "Ooh, that was more like a 5-pointer." You know, it was like basketball terms. He's like, "The best offense is a good defense," and then they brought it up again like before, like best defense is a good offense, stuff like that. And he made like this like kind of like parachute kind of thing, and they came together and it formed, it looked like a basketball, but it was like a gray basketball. There's like a lot of basketball references, and if you don't know who Rodman was back in, well, this came out in 95, 97, something like that, 97, and back then he was like the big deal, but he was like kind of like looked at as kind of strange because his hair was always different colors and different patterns, and he dressed really strange back then. Now it's not really a big deal. Like, it's like, who cares? But back then it was just different because nobody else in the NBA used to do that, and he just was, stood out as an individual, and he got big, and then he got put in this movie, and he's not an actor, But again, he didn't do that bad in this. But the movie's not that great. It's kind of all over the place. There's a part in the beginning where the main bad guy, Mickey Rourke's character, his son gets killed, and I hate to see that, but he gets killed, and the guy has no emotion over it, really. He's pissed off, but he doesn't even really look that pissed off. Like, I don't know, he's upset. He's like, that's personal, but like, it's just like, I didn't buy it, like that he gave a shit. And then they're fighting in a maternity ward, shooting guns and everything while there's babies all around them. I don't know what the fuck Mandalay Entertainment was thinking back then, but what the fuck, like, why would you do that? Like, what kind of a setting could that have been? Like, where could they be fighting? Let's do it in there. And then, like, he pushes a baby at him, and he looks, and there's a grenade in there. So the guy whose son just got killed pushes a newborn baby at Jean-Claude Van Damme with a grenade in it. So he didn't give a shit. And like, I don't know, that kind of stuff bothers me because I'm a father, and I just think that it's unnecessary. Like, why are they fighting a maternity ward and firing guns? To me, I don't know, I always think, like, those kids are deaf now. Like, they're having problems. Those kids all have problems now because they're deaf, especially, and it's just, I don't know, and I just don't think Jean-Claude Van Damme and Rodman worked well together. Maybe they had fun making the movie, but it just didn't work right. There was, like, they fought in the Coliseum, at the end, big end scene, and it was just really ridiculous. There was a lot of, like, promotional advertisements in this, like, big time at the end, especially at the end. Maybe there was throughout the whole movie, but especially at the end, it was like nothing but Coca-Cola thrown in your fucking face, and I was like, wow, really? Like, it was bad. But as far as the movie, I probably won't ever watch Double Team again. I love Jean-Claude Van Damme, but I would say this is probably, of all the movies I've seen of his, because there are a few that I haven't seen yet. Right now, this is on the bottom of the list. And again, I think there's a reason why I forgot about this. And now I remember. So yeah, probably not going to watch it again. But picture-wise, looked good. Sound-wise, sounded good. There's only subtitles. There's nothing else on here. Just like the other editions of this. But it is pretty cool. I do like, because I don't remember, but I do believe it did come in a green tape. It might not have. I believe maybe there was a green tape somewhere along the lines. I'm not sure. Or something. I don't know what is making me think of that, but I don't know. They picked a green tape, and I think it looks cool. It's a cool cover, And then, like, the front of the tape is green here. And on the back, it's blue. So that's actually kind of a cool mix-match color, But the movie's not that good, to be honest. I don't know. I just think it's one of his weakest movies. But it is a slipcover, and underneath here you have the case here with a different image on the front there, which is cool. I don't think I've ever actually seen that image. I've always seen the original one, so that's cool. And you get the back, and then on the inside here you have this Blu-ray, and it is Region A. But that's it, just a standalone Blu-ray with the slipcover, and it is part of the iHeart the 90s now, which is cool, because I mean, I love the 80s, but the 90s has some good stuff as well, The 80s has some better music to me, but the 90s, you know, I don't think it gets enough credit. You know, everybody loves the 80s, and I love the 80s, but I don't think the 90s gets enough credit. Going by this movie, you know, I'm probably not doing it. It's probably not doing much of a favor. But you know, I would say you could probably skip this movie if you're a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan or beginner fan. You don't really need to see this, but if you want to see them all, check it out. But yeah, so that's Double Team. Next up here from Arrow Video USA, I have the Andromeda Strain, and this is directed by Robert Wise, and it's from the novel by Michael Crichton. And what this is about, it's about this government satellite that crash lands outside of a small town in New Mexico. And when it crashes, everybody in the town ends up dying within like minutes, and everybody in the town is dead except for this newborn baby and some elderly man. So now the government is sent into this program called Wildfire, and their job is to try and figure out what this, you know, they don't call it Andromeda Strain at the time, but to find out what this is. Is it, you know, something from Earth? Is it something, you know, an alien life form? What it is and what they can do to control it. Is it dangerous? You know, is it friendly? Why these people are dying? How does it spread? All that kind of stuff. And they're trying to figure out, you know, everything they can about it. So they're kind of prepared for it, but they also maybe want, just a scenario, might want to use it for you know, their own kind of warfare. You know, American warfare throughout the world. Kind of like that too. So it's like however they can use it, they want to see if they can use it. So Wildfire is kind of there to study it and see as much as they can about it. And I am, you know, it says before he created Westworld and Jurassic Park, you know, Michael, if I say Crichton right, I always say Crichton. It might be Crichton. I think I'm saying Crichton. But you know, of course, Jurassic Park, awesome. Never read the book. I've had the book before. Never read it. Westworld's awesome. I've seen the first little bit of the first season, first like half the first season of, and I don't think that really has anything to do. But I saw the original movie. This movie, I didn't really care for it, to be honest. I was waiting for something really, you know, to happen. And again, this was a book, and so maybe the book is better. They always say the book is better. At least in my experience, the book's always been better, except for maybe in one case, the book wasn't better. But yeah, I was thinking it was going to be different, and it was just a lot of science talk that I just don't understand. And you know, they did their best to explain it, and I get it, you know, but it was just a lot of following along, a lot of science talk, and you know, there was nothing wrong with the characters they used. The ending was fine. It just didn't grab me. It looked good. I just think I was hoping for some kind of big alien, and there wasn't. Technically, I guess there could have been, but there wasn't. It just kind of was disappointing for me. I had never seen this before, and this is from 1971. You know, and it's pretty cool though how they were so high tech back then. They had like things figured out, and I'm sure there are actual things like this nowadays, except like holy shit wise now, like things you probably never even thought of. But the way they were back then, and you know, computerized and that. Then there's like different levels they have to go on, like level 1, and they have to, like, each level they get like the germs and all that. They like kind of purify them in a way, you know, like get the germs out of them. And it's just it's like an hour. The first hour was that, like them getting assembled and going through that. And it was just like, it's kind of boring, to be honest. Like I was like waiting for something to happen. I was watching and paying attention. I didn't fall asleep or anything. It takes a lot for me to fall asleep during a movie, but I didn't fall asleep. But I was waiting for something to happen. It took me, you know, I watched the first hour, then I went to bed, and then like two days later, I finished the movie, and I was just like, you know, even the ending was kind of like, you know, it was I don't know, I guess not that great. You know, I can't think of the word, but it wasn't like all of the ending didn't make up for it. It was just like, you know, that was it. That's the ending. So I don't know. I think for me, I definitely wouldn't watch this again. But again, everything looked fine. The picture quality was fine. It sounded fine. The captions, I always watch captions. That was fine. The cast in it were good too, because at the time they said they didn't really want to get people that were like super known or anything, so they got people that weren't. And in fact, in the book, I believe the one doctor they were all men, and then in the movie they changed it, changed the one to a woman. Dr. Ruth, I believe, was her name. I can't remember her last name, but she was the doctor, and she was a character. She was kind of a spitfire kind of, you know, lady, and you know, everybody was kind of, they were a good cast of characters and likable, but it just didn't do it for me. I don't know. I just didn't really care for it. Probably wouldn't watch it again. I know I wouldn't watch it again. But now I'll show you what's inside here. And here we have the newly commissioned artwork by Corey Brickley. That's on the front cover. And here we have, you know, the spine here, and then the back. And then here is older artwork, which is kind of plain and boring. Kind of looks like a warning label, which is kind of creative, I guess. You know, nothing special. You got your font there, different from the other font. And then you got the back with the special features, official special edition contents here. And there are the special edition contents. If you want to pause them now and check them out, you can. And then on the inside here we have a booklet and a Blu-ray that is Region A. And here, like I said, we have the booklet. And inside we have this, you know, credits, cast, and crew. It's kind of a, you know, pretty thick, you know, booklet, to be honest. You know, stuff in here, stories and stuff like that. I don't want to show anything that's going to ruin anything for you. You know, cast and crew, like I said, about the restoration, credits and that. And there's the back. So yeah, maybe back then it was pretty creative and, you know, ahead of its time. And, you know, I think it is creative. And, you know, it just didn't do it for me. So for me, I'm going to pass. I would say you could probably pass on this one. But if you are interested, you know, again, it's not going to hurt to check it out if you want. But for me, definitely not going to check this out again. Wouldn't watch this again if you paid me. But yeah, so that's the Andromeda strain. Next up I have here from Scorpion Releasing, that is Shredder, and this is directed by Greg Husson. And what this is about this group of friends that break into this like old abandoned, you know, ski resort that is going to be getting fixed up by one girl that break in, her family is buying it, so they break in and they're gonna party, you know, have a good time and that. They're all snowboarders, and what they don't know is though that on this mountain somewhere is that there's this skier that has this big grudge against snowboarders for some reason, and basically wants to kill each one of them off one by one. So now they have to survive the weekend and figure out who is the one doing all the killing. Movie came out in 2001, and it stars some familiar faces, but like, it's weird because it's familiar faces, but I've only ever seen maybe one or two of them. And the other one is like, I swear I've seen them before, and I looked up where they're from, and it's like nothing I've seen them in. And that's very strange, but I don't know. But anyway, yeah, this was a you know, slasher, snowboarder slasher one, death to snowboarders kind of movie back in the day. I thought it was made in the 90s, but it was 2001 actually. But it has that 90s feel to it. And the funny thing is, everybody in this movie's pretty much around my age. So everybody dressing like that in the movie was pretty much how I was dressing at this time. Because back then, I was thinner and I was able to fit into this stuff. So, not that I was a snowboarder, but I remember people dressing like this, and you know, the things they said and wore and the music in the movie. Like, it was just like, you know, like how it was, because I graduated in 98, 2001 I turned 21, and you know, it was just like it had that vibe to it. Like, it brought back some memories to me, you know, of the time I was on the mountain where there was a homicidal maniac killing people from my group. But no, but seriously, it was I don't remember if I saw this back in the day, to be honest. Like, I remember the cover. There's like a reversible cover on here, and I do remember that, but I couldn't tell you if I saw it before. I might not have, to be honest. If I did, I just forgot it, or maybe I'm kind of betting that I never did see it before. But now I saw it. I saw that Scorpion. Well, Ronin Flicks actually sold this. I saw they were selling it, brand, you know, it just came out, and I thought, I'm gonna get that. The cover is amazing. So based on this cover alone, you know, it just got it, you know, get your attention. But I thought, oh, what the hell, I'm gonna get it. Check it out. It was a fun time. It was a little bit of comedy to it. Like, it wasn't nothing to ruin the movie. Like, you know, they throw in like little funny things that they say. They bust balls to you know, to each other. But there were some cringy moments too in there, like some like maybe not too PC kind of things. And it's like, oh, like one of the guys in this was Scott. I forget how you say his name. It's not how it looks. It's like Weiner, but that's not how you say it. He's from Full House, and it says Aladdin. That's the thing. Like, I know him. He's in, obviously, Fuller House. It says Fuller House on here and Aladdin, but I would have thought they would put Full House. But, and the other girl who's like known here is Lindsay McKeon, who was in Saved by the Bell, the new class. And now I know I've seen the new class of Saved by the Bell. I couldn't tell you anything that happened to it, and I don't really remember anybody from it. But she looks so damn familiar. I don't know. And she was in other things like Supernatural and stuff like that. But, you know, the cast was fun. I will say that. They were all pretty likable. Like I said, Lindsay McKeon played this girl named Kimberly, who was the bitch of the group. And she was not likable because she treated her boyfriend, who was played by Scott. Can't think of his name in this. I can't think of his name, but he, her boyfriend's name in this movie. She treated him like shit. You know, she was just kind of like stringing him along, and the guy thought he was going to get laid over the weekend and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know, but like, it's kind of one of those movies that, like, there's the rules about, you know, being in a horror movie kind of thing, but they kind of break those rules as well. So, like, even if you're a virgin, it doesn't matter. You could die in this movie. So it's kind of cool that, like, all bets were off in this. You never know. Anybody could die. It was pretty good. I was surprised. I had a fun time with this. Like I said, enjoyable group. The picture looked good. Very good, actually. The sound was good. Captions were good. And, you know, the soundtrack was pretty good. Like, there was a lot of, like, I'd say punk music. I don't want to say, like, you know, and no effects or stuff like that, but there was, like, sort of punk music in it, like enjoyable stuff. So, you know, snowboarding music. So it's kind of cool, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, I never saw it before, and I'm glad I picked it up. I thought it was a good time. There was like probably one generic looking CGI kill, and it was like toward the end that looked pretty bad. But then the overdone of the after effect of it, I can't say without giving it away, made up for it, I guess. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was fun. It was pretty cool. And then, like, you know, I'll show you. Of course, I'll show you what's a closer look at this. And here we have this new artwork here, which is phenomenal. And this is from Devin Whitehead, and he's done a lot of stuff for like Cavity Colors, and stuff like that. Like, he's amazing. Look him up. He does some great stuff. And this artwork is amazing. And it's a slipcover. You pull it out, and there's the original artwork, which not too grabby, to be honest. You know, not bad. Just like a cheesy cover from back in the day. But this is amazing. This is just like, wow, I would totally rent that. Like, look, check that out. And then you have on the back, you have that here, and it's pretty much the same on the back of the other cover. You know, it's reversible, so you could have this artwork here, there as well if you wanted. But you know, on the side here, you got the newer font for Shredder here, and that same thing on the other side. But like right here, you have special features. There's not too much, but you do get an interview and that. And if you want to pause it here and check it out, you can. And then the inside here, you have the Blu-ray, which is Region A. And you also do get a mini poster in here, but I forgot to put it back in here. I actually have it out and pulled it out because I want to actually frame it and put it on the wall. One thing that surprised me with this movie was how gory it was, and it started off pretty gory right away. Pretty cool. And there's like this one scene with something attached to the scare lift. That's what they should have called it. The ski lift. Throughout like most of the movie, that was something that was attached to it, which I got a chuckle out of every time it like passed by and it was in the background. People didn't even notice it. It wasn't supposed to be funny, but like I found it funny. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I kind of predicted, you know, the killer, but you know, I guess that's just because I've seen so many, or I'm just again a lucky guess. I don't know. But yeah, I enjoyed this movie. It's cheesy. It's a good time. It doesn't really. I shouldn't say it doesn't take itself seriously, but you know, it's just like a typical, you know, bunch of people getting together, and then not all of them make it out. So if you're like looking for a movie where, you know, teenagers are going up to a mountain to snowboard and they're gonna get killed, you know, this is definitely the movie you want to watch. So yeah, I would definitely watch this again. Definitely rewatchability. I had a lot of fun with it, and again, that cover art is fucking amazing. I love it. That's definitely some of the best cover art I've seen in a long time. But yeah, so I say definitely check this out if you can. So yeah, that's Shredder. Next up I have here from Vinegar Syndrome, that is Grandmother's House, and this is from Nico Masterakis. And what this is about, it's about these two orphans, now orphaned, who lost their father, and they have to go and live with their grandparents. And pretty much right away when they get there, they notice something is off about their grandparents. And soon, you know, like I said, right away, pretty much when they get there, the grandson notices something happen at the house, and he kind of goes in to investigate, which, you know, turns into like this whole kind of following them around and trying to discover what's going on, and then other secrets start to come out and things happen, and it's a really bad description, but I can't really say a lot without giving things away. But yeah, so that's what this is about. But yeah, I've never seen this before. I had the VHS. I never put it in. I've seen, if I said that right, Nico Masterakis, if I'm saying that right, Masterakis, it looks like that, but he did Isle of Death, which was, you know, one of the movies he did with Isle of Death, and I think that's probably the first movie I've ever seen from him, and that was something else. That was fucked up. This is totally different. First off, I don't think this should be called Grandmother's House, because it's both grandparents live there. I don't know why it's Grandmother's House. The grandfather is pretty much more involved in this movie than the grandmother. They're both pretty much on screen at the same time most of the time together. So it should be called like Grandparents' House or something. But I don't know, it's called Grandmother's House. But to be honest, like I said, I never saw this before. I didn't watch a trailer or anything, and it's a blind buy. I do that a lot with Vinegar Syndrome because I either like it or I don't, but I always, you know, they always for the most part, they put out good stuff. Even if the movie's not that great, usually the quality in that is very good, and or the slipcover is amazing, or something. And it's usually something I like about it. But yeah, I never got a chance to watch it, and now I did, and I thought it was going to be something totally different. I thought it was going to be like, along the lines of like cannibals kind of a movie, like the grandparents eat people kind of thing, and it didn't. It wasn't that. It was something like totally different, and I guess the story was okay. I think the main reveal was okay. It was a little fucked up, but I think they should have added more with that. I don't know. And then like Brink Stevens, I always called her Brinky, but it's Brink Stevens. They have an interview with her on here, and she really talked the movie up, and it made me like appreciate it more. But I'm thinking, oh wait, you didn't really like it that much. Like you liked it. I liked the movie. I don't know how much I would watch it. Like the main kid in this, I think his name was Billy. He annoyed the hell out of me. And I think it was the stupid look on his face the whole time through the movie. The whole movie he just was like this. And his hair was like always in like almost right in his eyes. I just kind of wanted to like always push his hair out of his face, and like he crept around, and the camera like followed him like in this like weird like angle like this, and but like he bothered me. The kid bothered me, and I mean he was a fine actor. He like did fine. His sister was good too, but he just bothered me. And he was like the main actor, like pretty much the main person in the movie. He drove me crazy. I couldn't stand watching him. It didn't ruin ruin the movie for me or anything, but I don't know. There's just something about him. He drove me nuts. That look on his face the whole time. But the grandfather was played by I believe it was on Seinfeld. It was Seinfeld's Uncle Sal. And I think he always talked about his Jeremy or something, who was like with the park ranger or something like that. But like it was funny to see him, because in that he's like funny and like smiling all the time, and this he was really fucking creepy, and like he looked very scary. Like you wouldn't want to fuck with him or cross him, and so it was really cool to see him in a different element. And I think this was in 19, I want to say 88. Was it? Yeah, 1988. So it was actually like a year before Seinfeld came out, and officially. So it was around that time. So it was kind of cool to see like that he was in this first, and then Seinfeld, where he's like this funny uncle, that always held on Jerry's arm. I said probably because people try to get away every time he talked to them. But like he was a very menacing, did a good character, played a good character. The grandmother, I don't know, she didn't really play a big part or anything, but and Brink Stevens, she was, it's not that she was bad in the movie or anything, but her dialogue, when she did talk, she didn't have much lines to deliver, to be honest, which I'm glad, because her lines that she did deliver was like, it was bad. Like she just, I don't know, she did have to do some of her own stunts, which was cool, but I don't know, her character, you kind of feel sympathetic for her, and I'm being very vague. You're supposed to feel a little sympathetic for her, but then I don't know, she's fucking weird. I don't know, you don't know what to think about her. I don't know, she's all over the place. From the second you fucking see her in that movie, she's really very strange. The kids are just weird too, because it makes it seem like in the movie, like in the beginning, like you think it's the first time they're meeting the grandparents, and it's not. They've been there many times before, and they have beds there and everything, and the way they were acting was as if like this is the first time they're meeting their grandparents, and this is weird. I mean, I understand they lost their father, now they have to go there and live, but it was just very, very awkward and strained. And the grandparents were, you know, besides what was going on in the background of things, were very sweet people. You know, they were very likable people. And it was just weird that the kids were like that toward them. They weren't like creepy grandparents toward them, you know. I don't know, but yeah, the movie, it was okay. I there were things that happened, like I'm like, why are they, like, they're being chased in an apple orchard, and, or I guess that's what you call it, and it's like just turn and run that way and go back. What are they supposed to do? They're gonna hit they're gonna hit apple trees, and I don't know. It's like things like that. Like, I didn't like. Stupid little things that I could nitpick at that made that I could. I'm not going to go into, but I'd say I probably wouldn't watch this that much, to be honest. But if somebody put it on, I'd probably sit down and watch it. But I really don't have an urge to put it in, like, right now or anytime soon. But I'll tell you one thing though: the picture quality on this was fantastic. Like, this is probably the best transfer I've ever seen from Vinegar Syndrome. Like, it was pristine. It looked like absolutely fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful transition. Like, again, I'd had the VHS, but I didn't watch it. But they show, like, the special features, like footage from back then, and you could tell it's grainy. I think it was the trailer actually I watched, and it was grainy and stuff. So, you know, it's kind of like I get an idea how it looked. But man, did that look, this movie looks so good. And there's a lot of, like, day shots and everything. They're on a big farm. There's a lot of day shots, so it really looked nice. You'd almost think it was more modern movie, because it was, like, very bright and you know, colorful. They did a really great job with the restoration on this. I was very impressed, and everything sounded good, like I said, and the captions were really good. But you know what, enough with all that. Let me show you what's inside. And here you have the slip cover here, and there is some, like, glossiness to it. Like, if you could see a little bit in their eyes, they shine a little bit. And you know, down here on the letter, on the name itself, like a little bit glossiness. Pretty cool. This kind of like pops out a little bit, you know, so it's cool with that. The side here, grandmother's house, it's like embossed, you can feel that. Same thing on this side. And on the back here, you have the car, the truck with lightning in that. It's pretty cool. I don't know who made this. I know a lot of their artwork is made from Earl Kess Jr., I believe. So I'm not sure if he did this. It doesn't say on the back. I don't know why it doesn't say, but it doesn't say. And then on the inside here, you have this artwork. This is the reverse sleeve. You also have that artwork on here, but I reversed it. And that's the original artwork there. I'm not really sure which one I like more. I like them both, but I think they did a really good job on the newer one with the kids' faces. I think definitely the boy, he looks just like him. This is a little more menacing. The grandmother doesn't look like that. That's like very old. The other new one, the one in the movie, doesn't look like that. But you know, you got that. A better look at it for you there. You know, cool. I do like the red with that font. I think that looks cool. It looks like a, you know, like she's knitting. I do like the knitted look to that, though. I do like that. And then the back, like that. So there are things I like about both of them, but I'm not really sure. And I'm not sure if I said it, but this is directed by Peter Rader. I don't think I said that, but yeah. So there's the back, and here are the special features on there. If you want to pause it now and check them out, you can. And then on the inside here, you have the Blu-ray with the new artwork on, and the DVD with the old artwork on, and the Blu-ray in that is region A, B, and C. I still wish they would get rid of the DVD. Again, I don't see why you need a DVD nowadays. You know, again, get with it, get a Blu-ray player, you know, or just sell them separate. I don't know. I just like it when it's just a Blu-ray. Maybe it would also probably bring the price down a little bit, but I don't know. I'm sure they have a reason for why they do what they do. So yeah, Grandmother's House. It's not a great movie, but it's not bad. Like I said, I'd probably watch it again sometime, but I don't know how much I would watch it. You know, to be honest, it is what it is. It's cool. I'm glad I saw it. It's interesting. Again, the ending's kind of fucked, but I just wish they would have added more to it, I guess. But so yeah, that's Grandmother's House. And last up I have here from Vinegar Syndrome is Splatter University, and this is directed by Richard Haynes. And what this is about, it's about this escaped lunatic that escaped from this mental institution from back in the day and ended up killing this teacher in this like religious school. And now flash forward a semester, and now they got a new teacher in there, and everybody says that the classroom is jinxed and that, and you know, the teacher like doesn't really know about it, so she starts asking questions and all that, and she starts suspecting things, and then now all of a sudden people are starting to get killed again, and she's starting to suspect who the killer is, because the killer was never caught. So now, again, she's suspecting it, and she's trying to find evidence and figure out who the killer is before she's next. Movie came out in 1984, and I believe Troma distributed it, or like had their hand in it, because like there's a Troma thing in the beginning. I don't think Troma put it out. I don't. Somebody could tell me that. I never understand. Like, I know Troma gets their hands in things and they distribute things, but I don't know what exactly is from Troma. I don't think this is from Troma. I think they just helped make it. So, if anybody could tell me that. But, this is the first time I've ever seen this movie. I've actually owned it. I have the 88 Films version. I think I started watching it, and then I stopped watching it for some reason, or I'm thinking of something else. But either way, I never watched it. And now I'm like, I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna see what this is. Put it in. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. This was such a fun slasher. I was having such a good time with this. I was laughing because it was like, the 80s, this typical college like kids in a like, religious college. They're like, horny teenagers, and it's just like there's like things going like teen pregnancy and drinking and just like being kids, and it's just so much teen angst in this movie. And like the kills weren't like over the top. A lot of throat slashing, and there were some gruesome things in that, but the most gruesome was probably when they would find the body. Like, you might see like a quick stab to the mouth, and that's it. You wouldn't see the after effect. Sometimes you would just see blood, here or there, or but you'd always usually see the body afterwards, and it was always pretty bad. But it was pretty cool. I did really enjoy this movie, I'll be honest. I would definitely watch this one again. Had a lot of fun watching this, and it made me laugh, because the way these people were like to each other, they just busted balls, even with like the girls to the guys and to each other, and it's just a lot of fun. And the main one, well, not the main character, but one of the guys that was like, he was a sleazeball in it, but he was funny, and probably one of my favorite characters was the guy named Tony in it, and it was just funny. He was a funny guy, sleazeball, but I liked him. And like I said, the gore was it wasn't over the top or anything, but it was just enough for a slasher. It was no budget to this or anything, but I think what they had, what they did with it, it worked. I enjoyed it. There was like I read things on IMDb. I don't know what is true in that, but they say like the one girl, like nobody wrote down like what was worn, so there's like no continuality or continuity. I don't know what the word is, but so the main actress was writing everything down, what people were wearing, so that it would be, you know, would continue to the next shot and all that. Even I think they said she bought her own wardrobe for the movie, so I guess there really was no budget for this. The one cool shot though, I looked all this up. I can't remember what it was, but it was like in New York and like mainly was shot. But they went to this drive-in, and it kind of looked like a mixture of the drive-in from around here where I used to go, and also the Mahoning drive-in where I do go now. It's like a mixture of both. And they had the speakers where you put them on your window, and the guy was like, you know, gonna make out the girl and that, and stuff like that. It was just like, it looked kind of like it was. It looks, the way it looked like it was small, but it was just probably the angle they were on that. But it was like, oh, it was cool, old school, you know, drive-in. And they always want to go like, you want to go to the drive-in? You want to go to the drive-in? So it was like the happening thing. That's what they did. They went to the drive-in all the time. And it was cool that that was the thing. And unfortunately, I looked it up, and that's demolished now, that drive-in. It's no longer in existence. But it was somewhere in New York, and it's a shame because I don't know exactly how far it is from me, but New York's like right there for me. So it would have been cool to maybe, if it existed, maybe see it yet, but it's not there. So, you know, that's a shame, but it looked really cool, and, you know, that was a cool scene in the movie. But, you know, very, very likable movie. Like, you could tell that they had no budget, but like I said, what they had, it worked. And just a lot of fun. A lot of good cheese in this. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. So now, let me go and show you what's inside. And right here you do have the cover here that you can see is a little glossy. And the letters here, they usually do this with their covers, but it's embossed, which I do really like. Sometimes other things are embossed, but they're not. It's mostly like some glossiness here and there. And then you have on the spine, these are embossed as well. On the back, you have the stabbings there. They're like shiny. And it's a solid black here, which I do like. I like that a lot. It's kind of like stands out. And then this is embossed as well on the side. And then this is a slipcover, and then you raise it. And then here you have the newer, well, the older artwork, I should say. That's more newer. Here you got the Splatter University. That apparently this actress, they said she's on the cover. She's not in the movie. And I mean, I knew that watching the movie, but you know, I've always seen this cover, and this kind of, like, I wouldn't say it's misleading, but this is too clean of a cover for this movie, you know. And this one almost looks too modern of a cover. I don't know what it is. Earn a higher degree in terror, but yeah. So that's what's on here. Like I said, here is the cover, and it is reversible, so you could put that new artwork on there if you wanted to. And you got that. And then you got the spine, you know, which is, it's kind of strange. They have the newer font there, and then you got, you know, the back, it's all red and all that. But then if you want this side, you know, but then the font with the title there is white with the red background. So I would rather that, to be honest with me. But I just have the slipcover. You're going to get the other one anyway. But here you go. Here is the special features. And if you want to pause it now and check them out, you can. And here you have the DVD, and here's the Blu-ray, and it is region A, B, and C. So yeah, while the movie did look nice, it wasn't continually looking nice throughout the whole thing. It is restored from its original 16mm. So I realize there's going to be some little things here and there that they're not going to get out. You know, there's going to be some things that aren't perfect. You know, you got to realize that, not, you know, especially how old the film is and things happen to the film. You know, they even say, I don't know if they said it in this, but in some of the releases they say there may be some of that stuff. They do the best they can, and I believe they do the best they can. And you do notice that here and there it might not be as crystal clear as it could be, but it doesn't ruin the movie. It doesn't take anything away from it, and you know, it's not really all that noticeable. It's just that I noticed it, you know, but it doesn't take away from the movie. I didn't notice any, as my friend Larry likes to say, little pubic hairs on the screen. There was no like spots or anything like that. But you know, the quality for the most part was very good. Nothing really like I would say was bad about it. Like I said, except for maybe here and there were some that weren't the best. But you can understand if, you know, it's being restored from 16 millimeter, so you know you could do what you gotta, what you do the best you can, and you know they do the best they can. But sound quality was, you know, it was fine. You could see how they, you know, do overdubbing in the movie, and so as much as that sometimes doesn't, it bothers me. It didn't bother me when they did it in this because it kind of reminded me of being in a movie theater, which is kind of strange. Like I'm in my room watching this, and it sounds like I'm at a movie theater. So that kind of like added to a different kind of experience that I wasn't expecting, which was strange. So that was kind of cool. But you know, again, captions were good, sound was fine, and like I said about the picture. But so yeah, I'd say I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I definitely would watch this again. A lot of fun. Definitely think a lot of people would like this movie. So yeah, I definitely say check this one out if you can. Highly recommended. It's a fun time. Very, very good cheese, you know, like I said. But yeah, so that's Splatter University. Well, that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Share this video around wherever you have things, websites, Instagrams, and on the internets and all that kind of stuff. You know, share this video around, share my stuff, my videos, and all that kind of thing. You know, I really would appreciate it. And, you know, leave a comment below. If you watch this, leave a comment. But if you don't, please just give it a thumbs up. I really, really, really would appreciate that. But if you know, anything else, you know, contact me on any one of the social media links in the description box below. And that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. And if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later.